You ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to get started. I know maybe we're starting a little prematurely because I'm sure some people are trying to sign on. But we want to be on time with the magic with Sage's entertainment today. So Jim and I have some thoughts and some awards and recognition for people that really helped us out through this new virtual style of racing, which is a little bit different, but was also a lot of fun. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. We are excited to be able to offer this Zoom meeting for you guys with magic and trivia tonight at 7. So we weren't sure whether, after the news on Friday night, I hope most of you saw my post, but we just weren't sure about hosting this whole thing. It just didn't feel right to be celebrating when our country keeps getting hit with more and more painful news. So we know everyone feels it. When will this year be over? It's been a hard year. So no matter what your political stance is, no matter whether you believed that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's work was as powerful as we believe it is, no matter who you want to win in November, this year has brought up a lot of difficult emotions for all of us. So we feel like our nation's hurting, and working with grieving families, we understand the fear and the anger and the hatred that we see in the news and on social media. It all comes back to the truth of the matter, which is that we are all grieving. It's sort of an ambiguous grief of a life that we once knew and longed for again, on top of the grief of 200,000 Americans to coronavirus, on top of the grief of generational suffering felt by BIPOC people, Indigenous and LGBTQ people, on top of a climate that is burning and flooding and destroying livelihoods of the world's most impoverished and vulnerable people.
Yeah, these are scary times, but sometimes it's darkest just before the dawn. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is just carry on one day at a time. We feel like we've done that, and we feel like our community has done that. I read a quote yesterday from Ruth Bader Ginsburg that struck me and Dina as well, and helped us to realize that we needed to carry on with this race. And that quote is, "If you want to be a true professional, you should do something outside of yourself, something to repair tears in your community, something to make you feel, something to make life a little better for people less fortunate than you. That's what I think a meaningful life is, living not for oneself, but for one's community." This is how Justice Bader Ginsburg lived. I don't claim to say that this event compares even an inkling to the work she did for disadvantaged people, but that woman had fight. She was a real life superhero, and we honored her this weekend by getting out there, despite our sadness, our stress, our fear for the future, to bring a little bit of light to the darkness, to spread the word about childhood cancer and child loss, and the families suffering through it, and to help our little organization continue to thrive, which all of you have had such a huge hand in making possible. Through our tears and sweat and determination, we will not let 2020 bring us down.
And we're so excited about how the race turned out. Back in July, when I made this decision to go virtual, we had no idea how it would work out. But here we are. We had 265 participants running today, or this weekend, and we're just about to reach $22,000 in donation raised. We're so grateful for everyone's support. And even though we weren't able to host our retreats this year, we were still able to support families in many ways. So this is some of the work we did this year. We started up a new family grant program. So we just started this. Families can apply if they have a child with cancer with a very serious prognosis or have lost their child in the last year. We've given out 6 grants of $2,222 to these families each. And you can see their stories if you're interested on our Instagram highlights. I did a little highlight with all the grantees. We also funded 10 individual family trips to Maine, a lot in Agunquit at our heart quarters at Rett's Roost, and a bunch at Duck Puddle Campground, who's an organization a campground up in Maine that has really supported our organization over the years. We also created a bunch of virtual therapies, so parents and children could both sign up to attend a virtual therapy for free. And these included things like talk therapy, hypnotherapy, aromatherapy, homeopathy, yoga, meditation, Reiki, mediumship. Kids were offered art therapy and a magic class with Sage's Entertainment. It was all on Zoom. And another thing we did on Zoom was our Grief is Love online retreats. And follow-up support groups. And those have been really successful. We've had 3 so far, and we have 1 more planned for November.
Are we
think
still
so.
on?
You guys give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. All right, okay. Cool. So we host 10 parents at a time usually, and they are really cathartic times for people to really express their story of their child and what they went through and the grief that they're feeling. And then we have follow-up once a month with these people. So that's actually been working out great for this year. We also sent out a bunch of quarantine care packages back in May and June. And we had 1 in-person socially distanced meetup with moms, both of survivors and bereaved mothers, for a stand-up paddleboard yoga morning, and then we had lunch after that. So we've been keeping busy, for sure.
And Dina in particular has been as busy as I've ever seen her. And that's a testament to her and her determination to make sure that while we're not able to provide the kind of programming that we're used to providing, we're doing everything we can. We're still supporting our families, again, as best we can, but we miss our retreats for sure. And while we've been blessed to have a number of individual families come and stay with us, we're looking forward to getting back to what we normally do next year, which is have families here together with the full gamut of our programming. We're just grateful that there were virtual options for people and that people are taking advantage of them, including kids, which has been a real point of joy for us. Just imagine, if you can, having a child in treatment for cancer, during COVID. Friends can't visit the hospital. Oftentimes there's only one parent allowed at a time. Doctors and nurses are always in masks, not being able to give them, a smile of hope. And if your child died this year, no 300-person services like we've had for Rett. Just the loneliness that these families feel is just so enormously heavy, and our hearts go out to them in a profound way.
So we have to keep on moving, and as we tell grievers, one day, one breath at a time, keep moving toward the light. Recognize that there's darkness and suffering, and that we have to be empathetic to those that are in the thick of it. Listen to them, hold their hands. Don't try to give them advice or try to fix their troubles, and just be grateful for your life and what you have. And even the small moments, like the time that you spent outside for this race today on this beautiful fall weekend, or the time you spent in solitude with your family. Gratitude is the only way to help us balance this ambiguous grief that we're feeling as a country. And so, with no further ado, speaking of gratitude, we want to thank so many of you.
Beginning with our sponsors, in no particular order, the Smiley Seth Foundation, the Bataris, very good friends of ours who are doing amazing work in their own right, Mighty Roots, Ultra Geothermal, Some Brewing Company, and York Beach Beer Company, the latter of which hosted us today and were tremendous from start to finish. We certainly hope to work with them again in the future. Newmarket Dental, Trueline, my employer, Mark Motors, Kennebunk Savings, Cornerstone Tree Care, Gray Construction, Clear Choice MD, Kel Corson Company, Jayco Disposal, Shads, who has been providing us with t-shirts and other swag for years now. And we've, managed to build a pretty awesome collection of their offerings. Broadview Animal Hospital, Core Redefined.
She did all our posting. A lot of our posting on Facebook was by Core Redefined.
Piscataqua Savings Bank, and Carl's Water Systems. thank you all sincerely. Just a quick addendum to that. This is a tough year, not just for individuals and families, but for businesses as well, particularly small local businesses. And, not knowing what your budget's going to be like, at the end of this year, let alone next year. The fact that businesses were able to rally and support us means a lot. And we can't thank you enough for making those contributions and making that sacrifice. Oh, yes, our individual fundraisers. So we've raised, as Dina mentioned, around $22,000, which is right up against our fundraising goal. We're super excited, super grateful. Thank you to Amanda Disney, our top individual fundraiser, and the mother of Rett's Roost family, who has visited us a few times. We're great friends of ours, who donated over $1,000 to Rett's Roost. Also, thank you to David and Bryn Sullivan. David dressed up as Bob Ross today, which was one of the highlights of my day. It was amazing. They raised over $5,000 for Rett's Roost in a separate campaign for the Boston Marathon. So thank you to those individual donors and to all of you who donated today.
Yeah, Dave's been a big supporter of our race over the years, his whole family, Dave and Bryn. So we also had a lot of families that joined us today, and I want to honor their children, some who are cancer survivors and some who are with Rett. So I'd like to name their names because, especially for the children that are no longer with us, sometimes their name isn't mentioned as much anymore. So I want to thank all these families for signing up to be a part of this race. And we want to honor their children. Jordan Welliver, whose mom, Tina, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Tina. Michael McHugh, Liberty Arnold Simon, Sophie Rossi, Seth Botari, Justice Disney, Evan Austin, Wyatt Gentry, Alex Blaise, Madison Chinky, Josie Duvall, Addie Goodman, Caden Strong, Dakota Carter, Sajni Chakrabarty, Mariel Block, Shay Feely, Charlie Poole, Max Littlefield, Michael Romano, Stacy Kelly, Brennan Boomsma, and of course, Rett Cavan. And now for awards, we will contact you about prize selection because we actually have quite a few prizes to choose from, and we'd rather give you the chance to choose if you win something. So top individual fundraiser, we already mentioned them, Amanda Disney and David Sullivan. We're going to give a prize to both. Yay. Thank you for your efforts in fundraising for Rett's Roost. You guys are awesome. We also have top costumes, the best costumes that I saw on social media. I wrote them down somewhere. Here we go.
These were tough decisions.
Yeah, this was really tough, but it obviously went to Marika Yatsevich, who had an amazing Ruth Bader Ginsburg costume on and ran her race in sort of a judge's cloak and a nice doily thing for her.
Save our applause to the end.
Yeah, so she looked great, and we appreciate her post. Best kid costume. I actually didn't get the child's name, but it's Leslie Condon's niece, who had a really sweet Batgirl costume and looked great. And then best post goes out to Kate Levier and Tracy Jordan, and they are good friends of mine from high school, and they did an awesome job at drawing our whole logo on their driveway in chalk, which looked amazing. And then everybody got to run through a finish line banner, the crepe paper stuff. So they really went all out today. Thank you guys so much for that. Now for the winners, the running winners, and this is the last thing here before we move on to magic. So I do have some results for the top runners who actually entered their times. This was based on honor system, of course. For some reason, I only have 2 female winners for the 5K, so we'll look into the third place winner. But the top 2 female runners, first place goes to Missy Sullivan, yay, and second place to Gretchen Frank, woohoo! And then for the male winners, we have first place, Jared Graham. Yay, Jared.
Are you sure? Are you sure I didn't win?
I don't know if you entered your time. That's the problem.
No, I was only 8 minutes off. Congratulations, Jared.
Second place for male finisher is C. McGillis. Third place was Dan Strader. Nice. And then for the 10K winners, first place, of course, Corey Strong. Always. He's amazing. Second place, Robert Gray, one of our sponsors, Gray Construction. He always comes in top 3, I think. And our third place was Kyle Barrett, who had a great post today on Instagram we saw. And then we have the 3 top female winners in the 10K. Lynn Moscato came in first. Melissa Murtaugh came in second. And Alyssa Devlin came in third. So great job, everybody. Thank you for entering times. I know it's a little weird to have to enter your time on an honor system like that, but
they look legit. The times look legit.
Most of you have those watches that really tell your distance and all that stuff. So I also just want to point out Jim's awesome shirt that his brother Dave came up with. Can you stand up?
Oh, sure.
Yep. So yep, he can't squat because he just ran the 5K, but but yeah, we came up with that today, and we really like that a lot. So great. So thank you guys so much for being on Zoom. I know everyone is pretty zoomed out these days and are doing it for school, and that's tricky and everything. So we appreciate that you are logged on today. And we're going to turn it over to Wayne and Kaylee for, I'm going to make them a host. I'm going to make them the host. Yeah, we can just make you, there is a co-host option, but I'm just going to change you guys over to host.
No pressure.
And we're going to turn it over to them. We got to go grab Evie. Go grab Evie.
I will. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys
Sincerely.
so much for being a part of this. And we're so excited to see so many of you on here. Mwah. All right, Wayne and Callie, are you guys ready to go? Oh, okay. The magic show is going to begin in 1 minute and 50 seconds. If you haven't pinned, if you're using Zoom, you can always pin Wayne and Kaylee for the magic show. So you make sure that their video is the biggest. And if you missed the beginning of Jim and I's talk, we are going to post the recording on social media, so you'll be able to catch it later. All right, we'll see you in a couple minutes for magic.